So you've identified by spotting the opportunity, you've evaluated the opportunity. Now you've got to do something called risk management. And I have got a tool or a frame here that I use for risk management. Let me see if I can find it on my computer real quick, and I'll pull it up on the screen. Here we go. This tool I have used my entire life. And I love this tool because this tool helps me to identify the last step in evaluating an opportunity, which is risk in management. What are the risks associated with this opportunity, and how do you manage it? And this is unique. I don't know that I've seen this in too many different places, but the way that I evaluate risk is probably pretty unique. I don't like risk. I don't. The more I can reduce risk, the better. The more I can mitigate risk, the better. I don't like to have to accept the risk. So what do? I look at whether this is the idea, whatever the risk is, whether it's internal or external. How about a competing building that was bought and rehab near our project? That could be a risk that's associated with that particular project. It's an external risk. It's not an internal risk to our organization. It's something external that could happen. What is the impact then? So I know that it's an external risk. I know that what the risk is. What is the impact to the organization? What do I need to do? How is it going to impact our company? So is it going to increase costs? Is it going to change the time? Will I have to change the scope of what I'm doing? What's going to happen? So the risk might be competitive building is bought and rehab near our project. Right now, there's nothing next to our project that's renovated. Somebody comes in and buys it, and they're going to renovate the project. That might be a risk. So it changes the scope of what I'm doing. What is the likelihood that that's going to happen? On a scale of 1 to 5, what is the likelihood that that's going to happen? Then how about this? What is the degree of impact to my organization? 1, very low, 5, extremely high. And then we look at a weighted total. What is the likelihood times the impact? And now we have a weighted total that helps me to identify what are the greatest risks that I need to deal with right now on this specific asset. What is the trigger now? So now I've identified the likelihood and the impact. I know what to do about the impact. I know the degree of impact. What's the trigger that tells me that this risk has now started? What is the trigger that tells me that this risk has now started? The trigger that tells me that this risk has now started is that another building is purchased nearby. Well, whose responsibility then is it to deal with that? Once I know whose responsibility it is, I know what the trigger is, I know the degree, the likelihood, I know what the impact is, I know what the risk is, I know if it's internal or external. I need to develop a response plan. What's going to happen when the action's triggered? And who's going to take care of that response plan? And then the last thing that I want to do when this risk is associated with that project is decide whether I'm going to accept the risk. Are we going to try to mitigate the risk? Or are we going to try to avoid the risk altogether? And now I can make a determination on how to manage that situation. But I can't manage these things without the actual assessment of the risk. So many people in today's society and economy, they put all of their stock in their effort in reactionary management. What is unique about me and my team and my group is that we constantly are proactive. Now, do we miss things? Yes. Do we make mistakes? We're far from perfect. But if you want to be successful, if you want to 10x your unit acquisitions, if you want to go from, a couple tens of units to a couple hundred units like we did in 1 year's time frame under management or under ownership or whatever growth that you're looking to achieve, you've got to evaluate the risks and you got to understand what your management strategy is going to be. That's how you get fast growth. That's how you grow yourself from small to large quickly. That's called managed growth, when you can assess the risks and identify them and be able to respectfully and professionally deal with those risks.